People chucking tents on fires and it just becoming like this lawless fields of riot.
Vicky here at Download Festival with the band Vower. How are you guys today?
Very well, thank you. A little bit face melted from watching my sugar just now, but all
like
good.
Blaring sun, but full of riffs from my sugar.
If you could describe your band in an object, an emoji, and a sound, which would you pick?
Sorry.
I'd go with, for emoji, I'd go with the, the green face that's about to puke. That would be mine. An object.
Yeah.
Pestle and mortar,
Yeah, that's a good one.
because we're mixing it up.
And grinding. Mixing and grinding. And what was the other one, sir? A sound.
Thunder. Because one time when we were recording in studio, we'd finished recording for the day, and we were all sat around playing cards, and it was raining, and we were listening to music, and all of a sudden all the lights went off, all the power cut, it went dead silent, and then out of nowhere there was a huge bang, and it was thunder. So there you go.
That's a good one. Yeah.
How was your set at Download Festival?
It was awesome. Yeah, we've been looking forward to this for quite a while. Still kind of gassed on the fact that we got to play this year after we only launched the band a year ago, so it's been sick to do it so soon, and everyone seemed hyped on it. There were a lot of people in there and they were all into it and people were singing along, so I mean
Good energy.
yeah,
For sure. It felt like the big one this summer, I think, for us in terms of festivals, and like it's hard not to put a ton of weight on that, but it felt kind of relaxed today. We just kind of rolled in and had a really good time, enjoyed it, and it was great.
What do you think of the Download headliners this year?
do you want to answer this one?
Yeah, I mean, so we came in yesterday actually to watch a bunch of Sleep Token, just because it felt like such a big moment in British rock, like to see a new British band step into that headline position. Pretty monumental, to be honest, and see Korn, Heritage, great, new metal band. So yeah, it's cool, and it was Green Day on the first night, right?
Green Day's first time at Download, I believe, wasn't it?
I think it's their second.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe first time headlining, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, in my opinion of the headliners, it's nice to see them take a punt on newer bands. They did it first with Bring Me a few years back, instead of just putting on the same kind of, no shade thrown at any of the other headliners over the years, because they're always great, but it is nice to see a little bit more chance taken on that. And like Joe was saying, have Sleep Token do it, is I think it's a huge thing for heavy bands, especially from the UK. I think them being so big now is getting people that may not necessarily have been into heavy music maybe start exploring more.
Yeah.
It's great for bands like us because maybe someone might hear us because they like Sleep Token and decide that, I quite like this too. And it's just, there was like a great gateway band.
Did you come to Download as a punter previously? Or?
Yeah, we were talking about it on the way up here, actually, just kind of recounting stories of past downloads that were a very different vibe, a lot more raucous, I think, as someone coming to watch bands, having a few drinks and the rest. Yeah.
I came in, first download was 2007, and then I was here 2009 and 10, I think. When Faith No More, Rage played, Deftones, Them Crooked Vultures I got to see. Yeah, I had definitely a different vibe. I was definitely way more inebriated. Now I just drink water, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, 2007, I do remember the campsites being particularly rowdy back then.
Oh man, we were talking about it, how on the last day, people chucking tents on fires and it just becoming like this lawless fields of riots. It was kind of sick.
I can't remember if it was that year or the year before where it was the My Chemical Romance versus Slayer situation on the campsite.
No, I don't remember that, but I do remember seeing My Chemical Romance at Download, but unfortunately they had just an onslaught of bottles thrown at them, which was kind of brutal to see actually, but I don't remember. That might have been 2007.
Yeah. I wanted to discuss your track Deadweight. I felt it was about internal conflict, self-loathing, maybe.
Yeah, I think it alludes to that in the track for sure. And I actually, to be honest, find it hard to talk for Josh because I think who obviously wrote the lyrics, because I think it's quite nice for a lot of that to be left out up for interpretation rather than saying it's like just dead about this. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you are right though. It's loosely based around. I don't think it's necessarily based on a specific experience or thought process that he's had or whatever. Again, we can't speak on his behalf on that front. But yeah, you're not wrong in saying that it's like recognizing you're sometimes the problem in stumping your own progression in life or your career, whatever it is, however you relate to it, and realizing that and sort of getting fed up of it, I guess.
Do you feel that's quite an emotional song?
I think, again, for Josh, maybe it hits different. Like, at the end of the day, with him writing the lyrics and stuff and him sharing his thoughts and feelings on whatever he wants to sing about, I think it's a different thing. Whereas for us, like, there is certain emotional intent behind the music, I suppose, definitely. But
I mean, I'd say that like they're all emotional if you're thinking about like how you're writing them, it's like sparked on some sort of emotion somewhere, like during that creative process. Like, I feel like I'm getting better at now, like when me and Beer are writing together, or writing a song together, reading Beer's excitement on a track and whether he's feeling excited on a riff or not. That's all plays into emotion in some way, not like necessarily just the lyrical content. But
I mean, I know both Joe and I, in our previous bands, there was a lot of emotionally driven songwriting in terms of the music. Like, we were both fans of each other's older bands, and I think one of the reasons we were fans of it is because with regards to like the chord progressions we might use or melodies we might write, I always felt like they were emotionally driven as opposed to, and when I say emotionally driven, I mean like when you write a heavy riff, it's obviously meant to evoke like intensity, right? But whereas with certain chord progressions and stuff where they make you actually like feel something, pull on the heartstrings kind of vibe, like we're big fans of doing that with our chord progressions and writings.
And I want to talk a bit about your sound, which for me I was just thinking, well, it's very intense. Proggy and obviously metal, but how would you describe it to people that haven't really heard your sound before?
I guess I'll start by saying I feel like there was an onus not to be overly technical. We definitely take the stance of like going with our gut with the vibes of each song, and it's also quite important for us to feel like each song is it's kind of its own thing. So if you're watching a set or listening to the record, it doesn't feel like it all melds into one. Like each song has its own character. And I would say I always keep coming back to this like post-grunge thing. Like not all of it's like that, but I think that we definitely like that grungy, thick wall of sound thing as opposed to like the what's now more modern, which is the edgy, tight metal thing. So.
And are there any particular bands that you were influenced by?
Tons. Yeah, tons.
Carnival, Mastodon, Deftones.
Deftones were a big one.
Soundgarden.
Alice in Chains.
A
lot of classic stuff, to be honest. But then more modern bands like Loathe, I know we took some influence from.
Yeah, bits of Meshuggah. Like, it's hard not to really, and like just little bits here and there from all sorts of different bands, really. But those would be sort of standout influences, I think, across the whole band. We all like that kind of stuff.
I'm so glad you said Carnival
Favourite
first
band ever?
as well. Yeah, we interviewed them here last year as well. Great guys. But when I was listening to your band, I was like, Carnival vibes.
Yeah.
It's not quite, but I was like, it's definitely there.
Yeah, it's hard for us to not have that sound eke into our musical taste. I mean, they changed my whole outlook on music when I first discovered them, like back in 2009. So I've definitely injected some of that into the musical DNA.
It's I think sometimes it's a subconscious thing as well, where you're like, you grow up listening to these bands whilst you're learning to like hone your craft, play your instrument, and it like just naturally bleeds into your playing. So when you're writing your own music, you're like, just parts of that kind of ends up coming out, and I don't think it would be authentic to us if it didn't sound, for instance, a little bit, or have that sort of influence from bands like Carnival, Mastodon, bands that we've kind of grown up listening to and loving.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of bands throughout history inspiring other bands, like it's just all like a melting pot of inspiration, and so many bands wouldn't sound the way they do if it wasn't for other bands that came before them. And well, what's next for the band after Download?
Few festivals.
Yeah, a few festivals. We'll continue to write for whatever release is coming next, and we've got a headline tour in November that we'll start preparing for over the next couple of months.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing a live show at some point.
Awesome.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.